Hi and welcome to my channel. This is By Hook or By Needles and my name is Sam, and today I have something a little different, a little special. Today is my reveal day for my Decade Divas project, and if you're not aware of what that is, it's a project or a collaboration that was organized by Teresa from Critters Crochet and Shannon from the Spoonie Stitcher. They got together and decided to do this collaboration where people would celebrate the decades and what certain decades meant to them by creating and making stuff for each decade. And they did this the last couple of years, but last year they forgot to do 1970, just left it out altogether. But that was fun because that means we can do it this year. So I want to thank both Shannon and Therese for actually doing all the hard work that goes into trying to create a sort of collaboration like this, because it is a lot of work to try and get so many different content creators all on the same page, all ready, willing and able to sort of do what you're asking them to do and posting on the right times and on the right days and actually finishing the projects and all the rest of it. So yeah, kudos to those ladies for actually being able to pull it off. It's I've been watching everybody's creations so far, and yeah, it's pulled off. Anyway, that was I just thought I had to say that about those ladies. And next, I'm going to talk to you about what I've created and why. But first, I'm just going to have a little pause. So, what did I make? Well, I'm not going to tell you. Not just yet, anyway. But I will tell you what I based my project on. And I want you to think about these words I'm about to give you and tell me, if you can, what my topic was. Okay. Hold your breath. Count to 3. Come with me and you'll be in a world of, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can hear it when screaming Willy Wonka. That's what I chose, Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka is just such a big, big influence on my childhood and my 70s. It was something that we all looked forward to as kids. Our whole school was, abuzz with, oh, Willy Wonka's on again this weekend. It was literally played every year, around about the same time of year, which is around about this time of year. So this is quite coincidental that I'm actually releasing my video on this day, because it was played end of September, early October. I think it was sort of like almost back in those days, we only had 3 school terms, and early October was probably middle of the last term of school before we had our summer break, which of course started in December for us because I'm in Australia. And Willy Wonka was on every single year, and it was the only time we got to see it was when it was on TV, because there was no VCRs, there was no pausing TV. There was no getting out your phones and watching your favorite scenes over and over. There were no streaming sites. We had 3 channels when I came to Australia. 3 channels, and it was very, very boring. And it wasn't very often that you would get child content or child movie content, especially on the weekend, because, only 3 channels. Now, the first channel was always, that was the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, which is basically, like a BBC. It was educational, it was news, it was all that sort of stuff. It was not for, really, it had documentaries and things that kids could watch, but it wasn't really sort of an entertainment channel in the sense of the other two. And those were Channel 7 and Channel 9. And they were both pretty much the same. They had their current affairs, they had their news, they had adult, entertainment, sitcoms and that sort of thing, but nothing really aimed solely at kids when it came to movies. So it was a big deal. It was a huge deal to have a movie to watch. And my school would be a buzz. It really, really would. And without fail, the following Monday, after the movie aired, we would be dancing. Well, I never got into it because I don't think I was on the in crowd, to be honest. But so I missed out. But all the kids, they had a conga, and they would have a conga, and they would conga around school, singing all the songs from Oompa Loompa, the Oompa Loompa song, and and that's the way they, carried on the magic of the movie for them. Me, I would relive the movie after it finished by picking up the book and reading that yet again. I probably read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book twice a year. Because I just loved it so much. Willy Wonka is my topic. Now, I've got some questions for you, and I'm going to put them along the bottom here. And I'm going to see, answer them if you want to in the comments, but you don't have to. But here's your first one. How did Augusta, what? I can't remember I think it was August, get unstuck from the chocolate pipe? I know. But anyway, so that's your first question. And I'm just going to check my notes. Kids at school would really get into it. Now, when I was at home, it was a really magic time as well, because we would be allowed to stay up late. Now, even though it was a kids' movie, they often didn't put it on super early in the evening so that kids could watch, which doesn't really make sense for me, or to me, I should say. But we still managed to watch it because Mum and Dad always let us stay up late, just by extra half an hour or so to watch the movie, so that was good. And of course, in those days when, because there were no recordings, because there were no pause buttons, the only way you got to visit the bathroom and get a drink is if you could run fast during the ad breaks. And in those days, they didn't have many ad breaks, not as many as they do now. Now you can sort of really take your time if you're watching live TV. But back then, there were few ads. The ads, increased as the decades passed. So one thing I always insisted on, or we always had, was hot chocolate. We drank hot chocolate, and we had family blocks of chocolate, with the little tiny squares. And I always saved a little square for the chocolate river, for that scene or for that section of the movie. And so that I could pop it in my mouth and let it melt as I was watching them around the chocolate river. And I was always disappointed that it seemed so watery. I always wanted it to be a little bit thicker. And I think CGI or AI would probably do a fantastic job these days. But, it was still magical for us. So, yeah, we used to watch that. And we were allowed to stay up late and watch it. So, there's another question for you. What animal did Veruca encounter in the book? Because in the movie, it was chickens laying huge chicken eggs. And that never made much sense to me. Because Veruca would say, are they golden chicken eggs? No, chocolate chickens. Are they chocolate chicken eggs? And he'd say, yes. And she'd say, what would happen if you broke one? An omelette fit for a king. And I thought, an omelette made of chocolate. You just told us they were chocolate eggs, and now you're telling us if they broke one, you could make an omelette with it. Even back then, I couldn't understand the reasoning behind that. But anyway, but in the movie, yeah, there were chickens. But what did she encounter in the book? Not chickens. And I can understand why they changed it to chickens, because the animal she did encounter in the book would have been a little bit tricky to probably do. I mean, you could do it today with all the CGI and all that sort of thing. Back then, it wouldn't have been so very easy. So, what did I make? The suspense is killing me. I hope it lasts. Willy Wonka quotes. My goodness, what an influence they've had on me as well. I've been one of those people that sort of uses those quotes throughout my whole life. And I've got to tell you some of my favorites. Well, hang on, I've got to get my notes to make sure I get the right one. Yeah. For absolutely no reason at all, if someone mentions buttons, I'll say, button, button, who's got the button? I don't know why. I just do. And I also always love so much time and so little to do. And then he stops and he goes, strike that, reverse it. And I'm always like, yeah. I do that quite a lot in my life. And often when I say strike that, reverse it, I don't actually mean reverse it. I just mean, yeah, strike that because I've got that the wrong way around, or I've got that mixed up or confused or something like that. And the Snods Wranglers and the Wangdoodles eating the poor Oompa Loompas for breakfast. The whole language was just mind-blowing, Snazberries, who's ever heard of a snazberry? We are the dream makers, and we are the makers of dreams. He seemed to be filled with wonderful little one-liners. But my favorite of all is this one. And I'm going to pause. I'm going to show you the favorite line. It's only a few seconds from the movie, so I should be okay. And I'm not monetized, so I should be okay. I'm going to show you that scene.
Mr. Wonka?
So shine, so good.
good deed in a weary world.
I didn't know until recently. It was Craig from Fiber Spider that told me that quote actually comes from it's a Shakespearean quote. I didn't know that. I'm not sure which play it came from. I did look it up and I've forgotten again. So yeah, here's our next question. What did Wonka instruct the Oompa Loompas to use the taffy pulling machine for? And have you guessed what I made? I'm going to show you at long, long last. Are you thinking, what in goodness name is that? What is it? It's an everlasting gobstopper. At least, in my mind, it's an everlasting gobstopper. It's only a very small sort of thing, but goodness, it took a long time to design and sew together and try and get right. There are many variations out there. You can actually buy 3D printed ones that you can paint yourself or that can be painted. So that's what I made. Now, why did I make an everlasting gobstopper? Simple, really. For me, it symbolizes the movie. This is what the whole movie is about. It's Wonka trying to trick the kids with Slugworth, his fake Slugworth, to see who's going to take the gobstopper and give it to Slugworth, and and who's going to not take it. And the fact that Charlie gives it back to Willy Wonka at the end and walks away, knowing that he could just very, very easily make a lot of money from it, or presumably make a lot of money from it, which would feed his family, give him a new home, keep him warm, and all the rest of it. But he doesn't, because for Charlie, honesty, trustworthiness, and loyalty means more to him than all those things. And that's why I love the everlasting gobstopper. I love what it symbolizes, because for me that is so, so important. And I think most kids would hopefully get that message from that movie, if nothing else. I would like to think. This question's easy. What happened to the man who suddenly I think it's supposed to be got everything he wished for? What happened to the man who suddenly got everything he wished for? That's a really easy one. And the last one I'm going to ask you about is this one. What does sucking on a rainbow drop allow you to do? Put the answers, if you know them, in the comments section. And I'll put the answers in the description box. Try not to cheat. It's just for fun. It's just for fun. Now, finally, before I leave you, I do need to let you know that today, at the same time I released, Litza from Coco's Crochet and Tiffany from Crochet with Tiffany have both meant to have released their videos today to show you their projects. In my description box, there is a huge list of people, content creators, who have joined the collaboration and who participated in the collaboration. So I want you to go and check them all out. And if you actually use the hashtag DD70S celebration, if you actually type that in to your search bar, all of the videos that, because they're all supposed to use the tag, all of the videos in the collaboration should pop up. And all the comments and all the chat about them all should pop up. So that's Joey. That's Joey. That's my big boy. So yeah, check them out, please. And if you're not subscribed to any of these people, think about giving them a subscribe. This collaboration isn't only just about fun and about, me telling you childhood stories about why I loved a certain movie and why I made a everlasting gobstopper. It's also about sharing other channels. It's about promoting other channels, and it's about promoting yourself and hopefully getting more people interested in your channel as well. So make sure you go and check out those two this week. I have been every Monday putting out a post telling you who's posting in the coming week. So you would have hopefully have seen those, and I'll continue doing that until the end of the collaboration so that we all know who's doing what and when. So make sure you give them a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for your time. I'm always very humbled to know that you actually want to spend time with me, those that do. And I'm going to finish off. Wait, you? Look what I got. Ooh, enough for you. I'm going to finish off the way I always do, or usually do, thereabouts, by saying goodbye, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.